Hi there guys, it's Kirsty here again from My Home Truths. Sorry I'm a little bit late today. As I indicated on my Friday video, I had an appointment with Matilda today with her orthopaedic surgeon for her arm. Turns out we need to have the wires in for another 6 weeks, but we have made a tentative booking to get them out just before Christmas. So fingers crossed we can get that sorted out for her, because it's been a long time. She's now had plaster off for 6 weeks, so it's been 12 weeks since she broke both the bones in her arm. Another 6 weeks of the wires, and fingers crossed we can get those out, and we won't have to worry too much anymore. So she's still got to be fairly careful with that. But today's challenge, so today's been a challenging day, to be honest. I had issues. The first x-ray place I went to, the x-ray machine had broken, had to get petrol in the car, was running around late. It all worked out in the end. But it's quite fitting because today's challenge is a big one for me, and it is really worrying me at the moment. I could probably say it felt like, in a way, I was dumped by my therapist last week, and I know I wasn't, and I know that's not the case at all, and I know it's happened, and sometimes you know, for the good of everybody, you need to take a break. But my speech therapist, who I have a lot of time for, Gilbert's speech therapist, decided last week, and she at the start of the term, to sort of say, look, we're not making the progress that we want to make. Think it's probably time to look at some other options. So he goes off to the psychologist on Wednesday. We've been waiting for this appointment for quite some time, and we've mutually all agreed to make a break from speech. And sometimes this happens, and it's happened before. Sometimes it's stuff we've done. So we've, in the past, given him breaks from OT. At the moment, he's having regular OT every month to 6 weeks. But in the past, we have taken a break, you know, for a week, for a month's terms, even a year, I think, at one stage. It's the same with speech, but speech has been pretty much constant with him because he's very verbal, but has a lot of issues with sort of having proper conversations with people where there is that to and fro in conversation, but also in understanding the appropriateness of particular words. So for a long time now, we've had issues with swearing, and that seems to come up and rear its head occasionally. And he's 12, so there's obviously the age there as well. But it's really been the inappropriateness of certain words, you know, and he seems to be very fixated on things that are, you know, racist or just misogynistic. So everything that sort of happened around Donald Trump, for instance, things that happen in the media when, you know, footballers do bad things, that sort of thing. He's very fascinated by that. And his speech therapist even thinks that his you know, interest in these things, particularly in words that we shouldn't really use, that are taboo sort of thing, really borders on a special interest at the moment, which makes it extremely difficult to deal with. Hence why we're off to the psychologist, and we've been waiting for this appointment for about 3 months now, and we could very well likely be going to behaviour consultant or seeking help in another way there too. And it's not just the inappropriateness of what he's saying, it's actually how he's dealing with us as a family. We are really struggling at the moment. Everything seems very negative. He's highly strung, and we know there are stress factors here, and we know there's age factors. So he's 12 going on 13, so there's hormones at play. He's in his last term of primary school, and he'll be doing assisted transition from this week to high school, so we know that's at play as well. We know that the influences that he's being sort of affected by are changing, and you know, and a lot of this stuff is what boys of his age do. But the difference is other kids know when and when not to use this stuff. And apart from school, where he's really good, he seems to use all this stuff at any other point in time, and it's not appropriate. How many times we sort of tell him. Having a lot of issues too with self-regulation. He can regulate himself at school quite well, but doesn't even try at home. And there is a difference that we know that he is tireder at home, and there are sensory issues there, but there's also an element we know there is of he's just choosing not to, because he just wants to just get away with whatever he wants at home. So it can be difficult with autism to work out what is the autism and what is just actually naughty behaviour. And, you know, there's a lot of graphs and things around and infographics about the differences between meltdowns and tantrums. Well, we know ourselves with our son that at the moment we're dealing with behaviour that isn't necessarily autism specific. It's behaviour, there's probably an element there, but this behaviour is driven by his decision to do this regardless of what we're telling him. He's trying to assert his authority, and we're trying to obviously assert ours. So I think it's just, and it's difficult because the normal traditional ways that you deal with this with consequences, etc., are not getting through. And so we feel like we're in this cycle where we're just saying negative things to each other, the same actions are happening, the same consequences are happening, and the same result is happening, and no one's happy. So we really need to, so our challenge, and it's a really big challenge that's been going on for a while, is trying to address that and short-circuit it in some way and go, okay, this is what you're doing, this is how it's affecting us as a family, this is how it's affecting you, let's, look at this differently. And so we really do need a little bit of outside help, to help with that at the moment. So that's our challenge right now. And that's why I felt personally quite helpless and sort of sad, and resigned, I suppose, in a way last week when my speech, our speech, she said, I think that we probably need to have a break, and she's being honest. There's nothing she can do. There's a blocker there of behaviour. She can't get past it. And it's a different skill set now than just speech pathology that needs to help him. So, from all sides, it's quite amicable, and we will go back to her, and I have the greatest respect. But I suppose personally, I've had this sense of, sense of feeling lower, sense of helplessness, and of feeling sort of I'm not in control. And, I've prided myself on trying to, to stay on top of things and to try and anticipate and to try and assist my kids in whatever way I can and try and smooth the way for them, give them the tools they need to find their way, and to just generally be proactive and as positive as I can. So when you face sort of a challenge like this, where I've run out of options myself, I can't do anymore, the traditional ways that we've dealt with this aren't working, it's difficult. And that's me personally. I'm a control freak and someone who worries a lot and has anxiety and some things. So, I take this quite hard. But I just want to help him. And it's just really difficult because he just doesn't see it. And it's so frustrating because if he could just get the one concept, I think, then he would understand and it would be better. But that's the whole challenge of autism, isn't it? It's not just one concept, and it's not that easy. So I just wanted to share with you today a real challenge we're having at the moment. And how it feels for me when therapy ends. Like, we've ended therapies before, we've changed providers when things haven't worked out. But it always hurts a little when someone that you trust, and it is for the good of the child, it's not a decision they've taken lightly, sort of says, we need to step back and it's not quite working. So it is quite normal and it happens, but it's also natural and normal for us as parents to sort of, have a bit of a feeling a bit, okay, it's natural to maybe get a little bit upset or, to have those feelings of worry until you have a different course. But in the end, hopefully for us, this will open up a more productive way to deal with him and to help him. And so we can start off year 7 and start off high school in a more positive frame of mind and with a set of strategies in place that will actually work. So while, yes, it was disappointing, it's also, I've got to look at, okay, well, this gives us the chance to work on some new skills and to really tackle this head on. So I just wanted to sort of share that challenge with you today, from the both ends. So obviously we've got the behaviour challenge, but also the challenge of when therapy doesn't quite work out, or when it's, you need to take a break, that sort of thing. Particularly for those parents new to the process, you will probably go through quite a few different therapists along the way for all different reasons. I think I tried to count the other day, and we've probably had about 10 different OTs over the years, and probably less in the way of speech, probably 3 or 4 with speech, actually probably 5. But yeah, and there's all different reasons for why things change, and it's quite normal. And you have just as a right to, obviously sort of work out if the relationship and, and the actual investment of time and money that you're putting into it is working as well. but yeah, it's sort of, yeah, it's natural to feel a bit lost when, you know, you're trying to work on a way and a way forward that you've always done, and it's just not quite working, and then you've got to look for something new. So I suppose that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling a bit at the moment. But hopefully onward and upward. So this week, tomorrow, we've got our first aspector coming in to observe Gilbert in the classroom, to have some ideas about how he's dealing right now. And then Thursday is his first supported transition visit to high school. So, and Wednesday, I see the psychologist. So, you know, it is onwards and upwards, and we will work this stuff out. And I know there's going to be, and the tricky thing is just to work out, is there one thing at play here, or is there quite a few? And as I suspect, you know, there's a few things going on here. But I hope that you have a good week. I hope that you feel, you know, confident enough, if you want to add your own challenge of the week. Hopefully we can all come together and give each other ideas on how we can move forward. I'd love to hear from anybody else who has, you know, had that issue. They've, you know, moved forward with therapy in one way for a while, then found it isn't working and try something else. Can you tell me good stories? Tell me positives. If any of you have dealt with this sort of behaviour before, you know, what helped, what rejigged? Was there some way that you could get through? I'd love to know. But I will be back on Friday at 10 o'clock to talk about the wins of the week, and hopefully I'll have a few like I did last week. But until then, have a great week, and I'll talk to you later on. See ya.